Most of the advice on how small and medium enterprises can win business is focused on how to sell to consumers. What little there is on how they should sell to big organisations, or blue chips as they're often called, will tell you things like stand out from the crowd, build your reputation, and create a strong network. And frankly, things like that are both obvious and applicable to any company selling to anyone, not just SMEs selling to blue chips. We've taken a slightly different approach. We looked at our experiences of winning work from large firms and combined that with our individual experiences working in large corporations to draw out why they did or didn't work with SMEs in the past, and then came up with a few do's and don'ts for small firms. The main thing I want to get across is that big firms tend to have set views on the pros and cons of smaller companies. So instead of spending time and effort trying to change their minds, the best thing is to leverage what they already believe to your own benefit. Now that might sound a little bit Machiavellian, so let me explain what I mean. We found that the two main reasons big organisations choose SMEs are their level of expertise and their flexibility. But we also found two key reasons they won't work with SMEs, and that's the perception that it's more risky and less convenient to deal with lots of small firms. So as a small firm, you should do the things that emphasise your expertise and flexibility, and you should focus on those opportunities where risk and convenience are just less of an issue. On the other hand, you should absolutely not do anything that might cause a big client to doubt your expertise, or that might reinforce any negative views they already have on the risks of working with small firms. Let me give you a couple of examples. The first is around marketing. I often see SMEs claiming they can do pretty much anything a client might ask for, and this is particularly common with consulting or knowledge-based SMEs. Now, it's easy to see why they do it. They don't want to risk missing out on a potential opportunity. But the trouble is, when a big firm sees a small firm offering lots of things, they will question whether it actually has any deep expertise or whether it's just trying its luck. They might also assume that in order to offer so many things despite being small, you must be cutting corners, which immediately raises the potential risk of working with you, at least in their minds. And finally, they just might not bother to read through all the things you're offering to find out the one that they actually want. So it's far better to focus on not just what you could do for clients, but what you do better than anyone else, as that creates a virtuous cycle of getting work that you do well, which boosts your reputation as an expert, and which then gets you more business through positive word of mouth. Don't delude yourself about punching above your weight. That's a happy outcome of doing a good job despite being small. It's just not the basis of a good strategy. Please also remember that trying to pretend you're a bigger company than you actually are makes big firms suspicious when they find out how big you actually are, which they always do when they check your credit rating or company register. The other example is around pricing. Again, when you're starting out, it's very tempting to drop your price to get the sale, but be very careful about that. The fact is that most big firms buy into the idea that quality costs. So if you cut your price, they will start assuming that you are cheap because you aren't actually experts, or because your product or service is low quality, and therefore risky. Also bear in mind that once you've established a low price point, it's quite hard to increase your prices later because potential clients will feel they're being taken advantage of. Now that's just a couple of examples, but we do have a number of other hints and tips for selling to big firms. So if you're interested in hearing more about these, please go to our SME training page to find out about our interactive workshops.